third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champions.
Foley three. Goal! Foley ball. Down Shelley. 3-ball. Goal! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Happy Monday, everybody! Big show coming today. Oregon Acrobatics tumbling head coach Keenyn Won is going to join us. She's great. Great interview. We're going to talk about the fact that acrobatics and tumbling is now an NCAA emerging sport. We're going to talk about what that means. We're also going to get to know the state of Oregon's record-breaking goal scorer, Callan Harrington, newest member, one of the new members of Oregon soccer. She is the state of Oregon's top goal scorer ever, not only all time in a career, but also in an individual season. We're going to talk to Kellen Harrington coming up on the show today as well after we talk with at Coach Keenyn on Twitter, by the way. So thanks to those of you for joining us. As Coach Keenyn Won's going to join us in about 10 minutes. She'll be our first guest off the top. We have a lot to tell you about from what happened this weekend. I had a busy weekend. A lot of things happening around the sporting landscape, including Athletes Unlimited. Softball was pretty fun. So I got to tell a little personal story on this. So we obviously had Gwen Savekis on last week, Pro Duck, All-American in 2018, just a Duck through and through. If you missed the interview with Gwen, go back on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of our archives. Subscribe to the podcast, the Oregon Sports Network podcast. You can listen to our interview with Gwen because Gwen Savekis went yard on Sunday in the Athletes Unlimited game. First of all, way to go, Gwen. It was a bomb of a home run. Opposite field, great shot. So she was the leading scorer for that game, if you will, because remember, the Athletes Unlimited League is having individual scoring for individual athletes, which is pretty cool. But also, it was our buddy Chris Clayton's birthday. Chris Clayton, many of you may know, softball fans probably know, because Chris was the sports director at KWVA, the student radio station, when Gwen was playing. He was, 2 sports directors behind me at KWVA, the student radio station. We've got like a line, we've got like a lineage and a group text. And this was really funny. So for whatever reason, I've always sent, whenever one of my friends has a birthday, I always send the gift it's a taco and then a candle in it, right? Well, I'm not even kidding. I sent Chris this text in our KWVA old time sports directors group text. I sent him the text about have a taco for your birthday, and then Gwen Savekis went Oppo Taco an hour later in the softball game, and I had to be like, Chris, that Gwen must have known, it was for you. Anyway, stupid story to start your week. Had to go there. I thought I got a real kick out of it. I hope everybody else did. It was just one of those funny accidents. Happy belated birthday to our buddy Chris Clayton and also Gwen Savekis and the rest of the Pro Ducks that were in action in Athletes Unlimited softball this weekend. That was great. NBA playoffs back in action. That was fun to watch. How about Ruthie Hebard this weekend too, everybody? 11 points, 6 rebounds, tied career highs for Ruthie Hebard, part of a big weekend for the Pro Ducks. The University of Oregon today has announced a virtual town hall this week for students and families. It'll be Thursday, September 3rd at 1 p.m. Pacific time. More updates at president.uoregon.edu/virtual-town-hall. If you just go to uoregon.edu, you're going to find all this info. One of the things that's pretty cool, you can watch the live stream on the link that I just mentioned, president.uoregon.edu/virtual-town-hall. uoregon.edu is going to have you covered for this. Again, it's September 3rd at 1 p.m. You can also send questions. I know there's a lot of questions about what the fall is going to look like with the university's decision to have mostly remote learning, how things are going to go. A lot of those questions are going to get answered coming up on Thursday. Unfortunately, they're competing with us. So if our listenership and viewership is below average on Thursday, we understand.
We know why.
Because you're probably watching President Schill and the virtual town hall. There will also be a second town hall next week that is really more for faculty and staff and what things are going to look like. Both of those town halls will be available for the University of Oregon audience to consume via YouTube, via the UOregon website, and they'll be live streamed and recorded for later viewing. So I thought that was important to mention. I know there's still a lot of questions about the COVID-19 pandemic, what it's going to mean for teaching and learning, and how's the campus going to look, and who's going to be on campus. And that's an important piece to all of this. So, again, president.uoregon.edu/virtual-town-hall. Thursday, 1 o'clock. That's when the town hall will happen live. It's going to be, I think, a good forum for people to ask questions, and I think that all of us have some of those questions to be answered for sure. I do, but this is an age of lots of questions, and we're all still trying to find answers to a lot of those things. Meanwhile, a few sad things over the weekend as Chadwick Boseman passed away at age 43. He fought cancer for 4 years. Many of you know him on screen, on the silver screen. He played Jackie Robinson, and boy, this was it was quite just a coincidence, I guess. He played Jackie Robinson, and he passed away on the day that Major League Baseball celebrated Jackie Robinson Day. Just wild there. Black Panther, though, of course, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe is what made him a superstar. And I just have really loved all the tributes over the last 24, 48 hours. He was so connected to sports, particularly to the NBA. A lot of NBA players have talked about just how important he was. And I think one of the most crucial things that I had heard Chadwick Boseman say, and it's gotten a lot of play in the last 48 hours, that he was so moved that there were now not just black children that wanted to be Black Panther, be the superhero. It was, you have white children want to be Black Panther. You have Asian children, all these ethnicities that wanted to be Black Panther. And I just thought that it was so cool, and he did such a good job of just articulating what it meant to him. And it was just really, really sad to see him pass away at age 43. And, man, Cliff Robinson passed away this weekend too. Blazer great. God, that's sad. And then legendary Georgetown head coach John Thompson passed away. He was the first black head coach to win the NCAA championship. Man, 2020 really stinks. 2020 really stinks. But 3 greats passing away this weekend. It was really too bad. I do now want to pivot to something, though, that's a little bit more exciting and uplifting. Keenyn Won's going to join us. Okay, so for those of you who have not heard from Coach Keenyn, as they call her team calls her, she's on Twitter at Coach Keenyn as well. Great interview. And you may have missed this because it was while we were off the air during our usual summer hiatus on Duck Insider. A major, major step was taken in mid-June with acrobatics and tumbling becoming an NCAA emerging sport. So what that means now is that the sport can earn the right to have its championship sanctioned by the premier governing body in college athletics. That would be the NCAA. And Keenyn Won was a national champion student athlete on the very first national championship team in 2011. Because remember, Oregon's one of the spearhead programs of acrobatics and tumbling. Now she's the head coach. And I just want to talk to her about what this means to her. Because, God, what a cool thing. So emerging sports status it's a really, really big deal. Because now in 2019, they got the first steps. Now a true emerging sport for Division I. So we're going to talk to Keenyn about that. And also just how life has changed, because I think life's changed for all of us. We're going to talk to her about that. I see that she's connected. She's here. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we're going to talk to, you already heard. She's got a lot of pressure on now because I called you a great interview. It's true, though. I mean, I'm just speaking the facts. And also, she is going to be filling in my chair sooner than she may think. She doesn't know that yet. We just told her. But you've got a break to chew on that as Keenyn Won joins us. Head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. Stick with us. Got a lot more Duck Insider still to come. Back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Joining us virtually inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Keenyn Won. And, I have to start with this, Keenyn. First, hope you're doing well. And second, you and I have a long history, and by you and I mean me, have a very long history of mispronunciations and pronunciation trouble. So, how'd I do this time?
That was great.
Thank you. See,
and I'm telling you, you are not bad. Everybody teases me because growing up in Hawaii, we just say things a little differently. So, the one thing is a big one.
but I have to say, you got to understand, Keen, in my line of work, if you say someone's name wrong, that's like the cardinal sin. It doesn't get worse than that. So for those of you who maybe have not heard the story, don't remember, Keen's last name is spelled as if you won a game. But obviously that's not the proper pronunciation, and me being terrible didn't figure that out until Keenyn one day had to just be really nice and be like, remember how we were joking about this? Well, actually, no, this is how you say my name. And I got to tell you guys, I literally was just I melted. I felt so bad. So ever since then, I've just been so nervous that I would screw it up. So you've been Coach Keenyn to me now, which I know that's what your team calls you, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I can go with that.
I'm telling you, though, on recruiting visits, I will say, Oregon won the national championship in 2012. And the parents are always kind of looking at me like, what is she saying? So then one of my assistant coaches usually has to be like, Keenyn, you got to pronounce it the way that we say it.
Well,
so it's totally, we're fair, even. And now it's great.
Okay, good. Well, Keenyn Won is joining us. We're going to talk about a lot of different things here. Let's start, Keenyn. I just kind of went through the background before you hopped on with us of what it means to be granted that emerging sport status. Can you just give fans your perspective on what that means and just how much of a big deal this is for acrobatics and tumbling after that announcement in mid-June?
Yeah, it's pretty much a decade in the making. I mean, I was on the very first team there at Oregon, and we dreamed about being an NCAA emerging sport and being on ESPN and having our meets filmed. And we've checked off a lot of those boxes. So to finally get that nod and that yes from the NCAA to be an emerging sport is just kind of all the work has paid off. And we're so excited to see where the sport can go. Obviously, we were supposed to get voted on in April. COVID changed the timeline a little bit. So we are kind of patiently waiting in that next vote. We ended up making it on that June or July ballot and got the yes and effective August 1st. So speaking to you today, we're officially a month into emerging sports status.
So does it feel different? I mean, they say like, right? I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, so you're a year older. Because to me, that's kind of like what this is. This almost feels like the 18th birthday for acrobatics and tumbling,
100%. Yep, but not many things have changed. And again, we've kind of been living our lives at Oregon as if we already were an NCAA sport. So now it's just the title, which feels nice.
So if this was like the 18th birthday, maybe this isn't quite a fair analogy, so you're going to have to help me here. I mean, what's the 21st birthday then? Is it granted you're a full, you got the NCAA championship? Is that really the only next step?
Yes. And I think if you ask anyone, 18th birthday versus 21st birthday, 21st is a lot more fun. Good analogy.
All right, I'll take it.
We're so excited for the 18th birthday, but the 21st is the next big goal.
All right, so now the question then obviously is how do you get there, and sort of what's next for acrobatics and tumbling as a whole? I know we're kind of we haven't even talked to you about your team yet, but this seems like a really big deal.
No, this is a huge deal, and I love that we're talking about it. I think because of everything going on, it didn't seem as big of a deal as it should be because, we've been hacking away at this for the past 10 years. So it is a huge deal for us. Championship sports status will be 40 NCAA universities that host it and that are competing. So we're pretty close. I believe for NCAA schools, we're at 32. So we're really close. We're going to get there, I think, within the next maybe 3 to 5 years.
So what I was going to say, I mean, you kind of led to my next question. I mean, what's the scuttlebutt, if you will, amongst the acrobatics and tumbling circles of like, you guys feel like there's a lot of momentum now to add at other schools? And I mean, what's that sort of look like right now?
Yeah, 100%. We've had so many schools inquire with us over the past decade. Obviously, a lot of Division II have added for enrollment purposes, but we do have a handful of Division Is and other Division IIs across the country that we're really looking for that NCAA status to take the next steps forward. So we're hoping that with that official emerging sports status attached to it, we're going to see more schools in the NCAA Division I and II add over the course of the next couple of years.
There's no doubt that Oregon's been kind of at the forefront of this. I think there's a lot of your fellow Duck alums that are involved in this heavily, right? I mean, could you just kind of put that in perspective for people, like how cool it is, one, that it's a bunch of Ducks that are kind of spearheading this, but then also, two, I mean, how many are there out there at this point? Like, what's the network like?
I don't even know. There's a good amount of us, though. I would definitely say double digits of Duck coaches that are out there, spanning from over in Hawaii Pacific all the way to the East Coast. So it's really cool just to kind of see everyone that started here at Oregon. And now, it's a sport created for women by women, and now it's a career for us. So it's really cool to be able to give the experience that we had to the next generation.
Coach Keenyn Won joining us, head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. All right, Keenyn, so I guess now from a fan's perspective, what can fans do to help you guys along the way here? I mean, is it just coming out to meets, tuning in? Is it the obvious stuff, or are there things that would help you and the student athletes more?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. Obviously, coming out to meets would be amazing. The more fans in the stands, the better. But also on social media, just getting the word out. That's how we've gotten to the point that we are today, is just educating people on the sport, on the opportunities that it gives female athletes, and just blasting it out on social media. I feel like that's where everybody is, especially this whole virtual life we're living in now, even more so than ever. So just educating people on it and showing them the videos, showing them the schools that offer it. And a lot of people have grandkids, nieces, or sisters even that are in gymnastics or competitive cheerleading. So expressing that this is an avenue to continue their college career in athletics.
You talk about kind of the spreading the word. So I've always said that acrobatics and tumbling might be the most Instagram-friendly sport ever. You've heard me say that. I think it's a fair assessment. People who have followed you guys on Instagram see what I'm saying. So 17.4 thousand followers on Instagram for the Oregon Acro-Tum account, by the way, with less than 1,500 posts. Pretty good numbers if you're a social media nerd, Sorry, I'm just nerding out for you for a second. But Keenan, I got to ask, I mean, you guys started your mini-series, as you called it, where every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and Thursday at 11 a.m., you guys are kind of getting to know student-athletes, talking about the sport. So two-part question here. One, great idea, first of all, so statement. Now, part one of the question. Where'd that idea come from? And two, just I don't even know how to ask this, but just like how cool is that you guys are able to now have these sorts of platforms? I mean, it's just such an awesome, I feel like, development for you guys in the last decade.
No, for sure. It kind of came from the NCAA's conversations with coaches. So we had an NCAA member. She interviewed every single coach, and it was really a recruiting tool to, get recruits to understand what different universities offer across the country. And then obviously a page out of your book, I saw the coaches coming in on the little TV screen instead of sitting in the chair to your left. Yeah. So we decided to do a Ducks Q&A. I mean, how fun is it to get to build these personal relationships, even if it is virtually? And that's something we love. You know, our fans love to get to know our Ducks in life beyond athletics. And that's something that we wanted to bring to them. So just kind of a little mini series we came up with, and it's had some really good traction so far. So we're excited.
Yeah, I've loved it. I mean, you know, we've personally loved it because it's been great for us to run them on the show. To be honest with you, Coach, I mean, it's exactly what we're trying to do on the show in general. And I mean, a coach interviewing a student athlete is like a fan's dream to me. Like nobody cares what I think; they want to hear from coaches.
Yeah, right.
No. This is true. You're just too nice. But I mean, coaches and student athletes, that's what this is supposed to be all about. I mean, I don't know. I just thought that it was a great idea. So a couple things now. One, how many different student athletes are you planning on featuring? Because you guys have a large roster. And two, how'd you pick them? Because that's always
a good question.
That's always what we think about. Like, so who's going to talk the best? Who's going to give the best stories? Like, so how'd you guys do that?
No, that's really good. So first part is we're going to do 8 or 9 student athletes. We have a set of twins, incoming freshmen. So we're going to do a little duo live with them. So 9 student athletes over the course of the next 3 weeks. We're kind of seeing how it goes. We would love to add more to the roster and to keep going with the mini series. And as of right now, it looks like we might have to with all the people we've had tuning in. And how we picked them, who's going to feel comfortable on camera, who is going to, just really be able to open up to us about their experience or about what they're looking forward to if they're an incoming freshman.
It's a great idea. I think it's been great. So you can find it on Instagram. If you missed them, you can watch them archived via Instagram, Oregon Acrotum on Instagram. And then, Keenan's the Tuesday host, but you kind of got a co-host you got to tell us about now a little bit, Keenan.
I have an awesome co-host, my assistant coach, Taylor Galvin. She is not one that is very comfortable on camera, but she probably fooled you on last Thursday. She absolutely killed it. It's been a lot of fun for us just to kind of see our athletes. I mean, it's been since March 12th that we announced that season was canceled. So to see them face to face, obviously we've done Zooms and whatnot, but the one-on-one is always nice and always fun to see them.
So she's not comfortable on camera?
I know, she fooled you. She killed it.
Never would have thought twice. And also, Taylor's been interviewed a time or two. She was a very, very, very good athlete at Oregon.
Very well decorated athlete.
Yeah. So, I mean, Taylor must have done her fair share of interviews. Tell her that she did great. Taylor Galvin, if you're watching, you did outstanding. You and Keenan are co-hosting the show here at some point. It's happening. We've already put it on the docket. Keenan didn't know it yet. So thoughts? I mean, you could do this for an hour a day. I'm telling you right now. So you just give me the word whenever you want to come in and take the chair. It's all yours.
I more so just want to wear the headset. That's the fun part.
Honestly, she's not wrong. Like the headset really is when it's real because these things, like I can't. If Scott talked to me right now, not in the headset, I'd have no idea. Like you can't hear anything. So now on that note, we need to just send you a headset.
Absolutely. I'll plug in right here.
Well, let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got a couple on the other side.
That's what you hide behind the desk, Joey.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a few extras. I'll have them cleaned properly and sent your way. Yeah.
Perfect.
You know,
I can't wait.
And then there's one with your name on it over on the chair that's right next to your head right now, actually. So, I think that it's been great. But in all seriousness, congratulations, Coach, on just the accomplishment. I know it's you and the entire community with acrobatics and tumbling, but it's just so cool to see a sport that I think has really grown up before our eyes, and you've been a big part of that. So I just say congratulations, because that's got to be pretty rewarding, and I imagine that you've got a lot of stories to kind of share with recruits of like, hey, you guys can be a part of this now.
100%. It's history in the making, and it's so crazy. The last sport to start in the college level and trickle down to youth, which is what we're doing, is football. So just to kind of put into perspective what we're doing here, I think it's amazing. You guys have always been huge supporters, Joey Mack and the show. So we love being on here and sharing about acrobatics and tumbling. And now I'm hoping that we'll bump up to 17.5 after today's show.
I hope so. That's my hope too. I'm right there with you. You bring up an interesting point. I didn't realize that. Can you elaborate for fans on what that really means, and just to kind of give more of that perspective? So you guys are the first new collegiate sport that's trickled down to youth since what year? I mean, are we talking like a century here?
I'm not sure. We'll have to Google, and we'll have to get back to that on when football started. But yeah, it started at the college level. I mean, my former coach here that's now at Baylor, Felicia Mulkey, started the sport kind of on a paper napkin on an airplane when she kind of wanted to steer away from competitive cheer because the end goal was to become NCAA. So just to kind of see it start from up here and trickle down, we are at the college level and the youth level, not quite at the high school level yet, but of course, that will be our end goal as we continue to trek along and create history along the way.
So, yeah, the first college football season was in 1869.
Wow.
So that's a long time. Wow. That's an impressive number to think about, just in terms of how, in a lot of ways, unprecedented it is, what you guys have accomplished. So, again, congratulations. That's really cool.
Thank you.
I want to get a quick timeout if we can, Keenyn, because we've talked so much about emerging sports, and we haven't actually talked about your team yet. I'd like to do that. So if you can hang out with us, we'll get a quick timeout, come back, talk a little more.
Absolutely.
Keenyn Won joining us, head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. We're going to send her a headset, freshly sanitized. I promise. We got more coming up. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a delicious Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. And all the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't get Humpty to try a different zero sugar soda again.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
It could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. And today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Keenyn Won joining us, head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., you'll see on Instagram and via Instagram Live, you'll see Coach Keenyn, who's now interview host Keenyn, will be talking with a new student-athlete. Can you give us a tease of who it's going to be tomorrow when fans tune in on Instagram?
Yeah, it's going to be an incoming freshman. So really excited to get her perspective. Last week we had 2 returners on the show, I'm all fancy now. But
It's a show. It is the show. It's a series.
Tomorrow is an incoming freshman coming from California, Cammie Wilson. So tune in. She's super excited to be a Duck, and I'm really looking forward to interviewing her tomorrow.
11 a.m. You'll be able to find it on the Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling Instagram account, and if you miss it, you can go back, watch on demand as well via the same account. Coach, take us back to March. I mean, you mentioned March 12th when the season got canceled, and the way that I feel, that feels like 5 years ago. I mean, it has been a very long, I think, 5-6 months for all of us. What's your reaction been to all this, and how have you guys dealt with what's obviously an unfortunate situation?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I always say this, every day feels the same, but to think we've been doing this for that long is crazy to me. That we're at the end of August. Tomorrow's September 1st. Where the heck did the year go? But March 12th was tough. I feel like it just happened in the blink of an eye. One phone call, I'm being told by Lisa we can't travel to Hawaii because of everything going on, and that's a far trip. Understandable. The very next day, the entire season's done. So I think it just happened all so quickly. I think for everybody to process, coaches, athletes, everyone in the athletic community across the country. And then after that, I think it finally settled in of what was really happening. And I think that was just tough, especially for our seniors. This is a really special team we had this year, and overcoming a lot of adversity, and we were really excited to see what we would have done at the end of the season.
I think that's a great perspective of just it. What do you do at some point? Because it does start to feel like Groundhog Day, but man, I mean, Groundhog's Day, eventually the movie did end, so I hope that, we're in that boat eventually.
Hopefully we're in the final couple minutes.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. Bill Murray, we're going to have to get him on the line and figure out how he got through it. Yeah. All right. In all seriousness, though, we've been following all the developments from the NCAA and the Pac-12 and what things are going to look like. I know you guys are in a little bit of a different situation with eligibility and all that kind of stuff. Can you just elaborate for fans on what that looks like for you guys and kind of the challenges with now your roster moving forward?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for us is we have 43 athletes on our roster. So kind of with everything going on, it's figuring out how to hold practices, what does that look like? We typically bring out our recruits for the class of 2021 here in the fall. So Taylor and I have been really working on how to give that same experience of Oregon and Eugene and how special this place is through Zoom. We're doing our best, but that's kind of, the things we've had to roll with and the changes we've had to make with everything going on is how do we keep life going, but through the computer and for the safety of our athletes, our coaches, our recruits. And that's always been the forefront of everything, I think, with the medical teams and coaches is just the safety of our athletes and everyone involved.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how technology has just shifted everything so much. I mean, and you touched on it a little bit there, but just how has this changed recruiting? I mean, I can't even begin to fathom how it's different for you guys.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is when everything shut down, a lot of our recruits didn't have access to gyms, even our athletes, So for our sport, not flipping, not tumbling for that extended amount of time, you definitely have to progress back into your skills. So I think that's been the hardest part. And again, like we said, we're firming up what that 2021 class looks like, and we would be extending official visit invites to come out here in October, watch a football game and see what it's like to be an Oregon Duck for the weekend. So that's kind of all just changed a little bit. Again, we're rolling with the punches and making the changes as we go and figuring out the best way to give the experience for these recruits.
You touched on the fact that it's trickled down to the youth, but you're not into the high school level yet. Obviously, recruiting gets a lot easier when you can just look up your acrobatics and tumbling high school schedule and go watch. I mean, I know you guys pull a lot from gymnastics, pull a lot from cheerleading. How do you go about scouting for recruits at this point, too, with everything shut down? And I guess, how are you finding those potential athletes?
Yeah, that's a good question. We reach out to a lot of big gyms and even smaller gyms, West Coast, East Coast. We have athletes and recruits from all over the country, surprisingly more on the East than the West. So that we also connect with the gyms that our athletes came from, whether it's gymnastics or all-star cheerleading. And then a lot of recruits still reach out to us because we are a fairly new sport. They're still contacting us and we're able to start that recruiting process with them.
I noticed that you guys in your first couple mini-series on Instagram have asked student athletes, like, how did you first find out about acrobatics and tumbling? And I found that to be a really interesting question, Coach. I mean, what is the overwhelming, and maybe there isn't one, but what are some of those overwhelming, I guess, answers that they give you, or what are some of the general ones that you get of this is how an athlete found out about it?
Yeah, I will say one of the coolest things is how the answers have evolved from maybe 4 years ago till now. What's really cool is now it's a friend of a friend who committed to Oregon, a friend of a friend who committed to Azusa or Baylor. And that's how they heard about it, which it warms my heart and makes me so happy because you're getting more of those people in our sport and athletes. I believe we signed a total of 300 athletes across the country for the class of 2020, maybe 360 upwards of. So that's just really cool. And I think 4 years ago, it was like, well, I had a coach come into my gym and explain what the sport was. So to now kind of know that more people across the country know what the sport is, are excited about the opportunity, that's been really cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that says a lot about the growth right there. And talk about the opportunities for all those student athletes too. I mean, that's got to make you pretty proud being one of those former student athletes, huh?
100%. 100%. There was 5 schools, when we first started this thing, and now to say we're at 33 is just amazing.
That's pretty sweet. That's awesome. I talked a little bit about Taylor Galvin, and she's comfortable on camera. I can tell you right now. Even if she's faking it until she's making it, she's comfortable on camera. She's a full-time assistant for you now.
She is. Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that progression, what you like about Coach T and having her as a full-time assistant.
Yeah, she's great. So she was an athlete here for 4 years. I got to coach her for 1 year, my very first year here. Phenomenal student athlete. She'll be so humble when you talk to her, but All-American, has won multiple individual national championships for tumbling. Just an amazing person all around. And so to bring her on my staff was kind of a no-brainer. She's super passionate about the sport. She absolutely loves the student athlete experience and, giving that back of what she received here at Oregon. So obviously she's a duck through and through, student athlete here, straight into coaching. But she's been awesome to have and just kind of help, with everything going on. And we're excited to have our athletes back, though. We can't wait.
Yeah. So what's the schedule like for you guys now? I mean, so many unknowns, so much up in the air. And I don't know about you, Coach, but for us, that's been the worst part is it seems like every hour something changes. And, I got to make sure we keep everything straight that we tell people on the show. I mean, how's that been for you guys? And what's kind of the schedule ahead for you and your athletes?
100%. I'm going to say this. I feel like every person working athletics is probably close to a type A. We love schedules. We love having deadlines. We love having all the information. That is just in our DNA.
Yes.
So this right now, I feel like for every coach, we just have to just let it go because we'll go crazy if not. It's been good. We're trying our best to give as much time, but like you said, as soon as we get something from administration, we're definitely passing that on to our athletes, our parents, just making sure we're keeping them in the loop as much as possible. But we should have our athletes back on campus the end of September. So we're really excited. We'll have our freshmen move into the dorms and then our upperclassmen come the following week, obviously to go through their onboarding process and get cleared before we can start some workouts.
Well, good luck. And the best I can say is stay safe with all this to you, your staff, the athletes, everybody else. That's definitely a tough task at this point. But absolutely. I can tell you, and I think Keenyn would agree, that the U of O, the athletic department, doing everything they can to make sure that safety is the first priority, as that is the most important thing. Well, thanks for always taking the time, Coach. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's Instagram. You'll be able to find it. Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling on Instagram. If you're not following, follow. Hoping to get to 17.5 thousand today. Keenyn, put the pressure on us, so help me out, fans, please. Otherwise, Keenyn might not come back on the show, and she probably won't co-host the show. So we're going to have to do that. But in all seriousness, this chair is yours whenever you want it. The ratings will be much higher than normal. And
you're right.
Oh, trust me. And Taylor's welcome as well. She looks comfortable on camera. I think everything's fine.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me. It's always fun. I wish I was sitting in the black leather chair, but this will have to do for today.
Well, thank you. Hopefully sooner than later, we've got the black leather chair, and I'll work on getting you a fancy headset for your interviews.
I would love it.
Keenyn Won. Thank you for the time, Coach, and stay safe.
Absolutely. You guys too.
That was great. That was great catching up with Coach Won. All right, we got a few more things to get to today, including talking with Kellen Harrington. She is the all-time leader in goals scored in high school soccer. We're going to talk about the latest Oregon recruit when we come back. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union, live from the Country Financial Studio. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
Welcome back for another episode of ASMR with Alex. Today, we're exploring the delicious, refreshing sounds of Pepsi. Oh, spilled a little there, but don't worry, it's all under control. Now for the best part. Pepsi. That's what I like. Nailed it. My subscriber is gonna love this one.
Locally owned Bigfoot Beverages is proud to support the Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back at Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Thanks again to Keenyn Won for joining us, head coach, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. Going to hear from Callan Harrington, she's got an impressive career. As we take an inside look, brought to you by the Oregon Imaging Centers, proud sponsor of Oregon Athletics, established in 1988. Oregon Imaging Centers would like to remind you that you have a voice in choosing your medical imaging provider. Choose quality, choose service, choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. Inside look, how about the career of Callan Harrington? The most goals scored in Oregon high school soccer in a single season, most goals scored in an entire career, and her Jesuit team, pretty much didn't lose while she was there. And she is now an Oregon Duck, getting ready for her freshman campaign. We got a chance to catch up with Callan Harrington, what it's like as a freshman heading into school and training, how it's different. We touched on all of that with Callan Harrington. Talking soccer with Callan Harrington from Oregon Soccer. The most goals scored in the history of the state of Oregon, by the way. Concluded her prep soccer career with a state record 133 goals. Also had 63 assists. Callan, first of all, thanks for being here. And how are you? You're a state record holder. How does that feel?
Thanks for having me. It feels awesome. Definitely something I didn't think I'd get to, but it's just a great feeling to have to be the top goal scorer in Oregon. And yeah, I'm just excited and it's just unreal.
From Portland, you went to Jesuit. Let's start with the fact that you are the record holder. You said you didn't think that you'd ever attain that. You'd never get there. I know you maybe don't think about that all the time, but Callan, at some point you had to be like, man, I'm scoring a lot of goals here.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know until my senior year that I was close to the record, because I think my coaches kind of set me up to achieve that already. And so when my senior year, they were telling me I was getting close to this record, and I was like, for who? And they're like, Tiffany Milbert, and I was like, wow. I was like, she's definitely someone to be in the same pool with. Like, that's pretty exciting. And so even to be in the same sentence as her is pretty cool. So
Tiffany Milbert went to Hillsborough, for those of you who are not familiar, and she was a U.S. national team star. So pretty elite company here for Callan. So, Callan, congratulations on that, first of all. Let's go back in time a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the recruiting process and why ultimately you selected Oregon.
Well, at first I was committed to UW my sophomore year, and I was committed there for kind of a while, and then the coaching change happened, and I saw that Graham was the new coach here, and I was like, well, he's going to make the program amazing. He's going to bring Oregon up to the program and just have them thrive. And also he could help me if I wanted to play after college, because he can do that. So I was like, I think that's just a better option for me. And my family's always been Ducks. So I was like, that's always a plus. So yeah, that's why I picked Oregon in the end.
Well, I have to ask you now, I mean, obviously your family wants what's best for you when you were committed to Washington, but they must be pretty happy now, Callan, right?
Yes, I'm very ecstatic. I think that this was definitely meant to be, and I'm meant to be a Duck for sure.
I love it. You mentioned Coach Abel. Tell us a little bit about Coach Abel, and obviously it was a big reason why you chose Oregon. What do you like so much about him? What's it been like working with him so far?
He's definitely just a great guy, and you can totally see that it's just not just about soccer. He actually just cares about you as a person, a lot. And he's just motivated and, grit. He has the grit to, get it done, make sure everything's perfect at practice. We don't do anything with, non-intensity. And, I just really think that he's going to change the team culture and, have us win some games. So I'm excited, and I know he's excited too.
He is. He's joked with us, Callan, that he'll be the only coach in the history of Oregon that'll be undefeated in his first year in the fall.
Yeah,
but
I don't deny it.
Yeah, I love it. Callan Harrington joining us. Tell us about the onboarding process. I mean, what was it like as a freshman coming on campus, getting up to speed with practices? I mean, just give fans a sense of what that was like for you and the rest of the freshmen.
It was definitely different, 100% different than going into high school or club. The pace at college is way faster. The girls are way more physical. So yeah, I thought I prepared pretty well to come into Oregon, and I think that the hardest thing is probably just wearing masks at practice, because breathing through those is pretty difficult. But yeah, I just think that the transition has been well. The coaches have been really good in supporting us and giving us what we need, groceries and stuff. So I think the transition overall has been pretty smooth. We haven't had any really bump ups. So that's been pretty nice.
What are the workouts like? I mean, give us a sense. You mentioned the masks. We've seen the pictures of you guys wearing the masks as you go through your workouts. Give us a sense of what that's been like.
We have color days, so it determines how hard a day is with green, yellow, orange, and red. And sometimes he mixes them, so yellow is pretty hard. Green days are my favorite probably because they're the easiest. But yeah, it just determines how hard a practice is, and usually it consists of technical work, and he puts all the four attacking players together. So we pretty much just go to goal the whole time, which is fun. So yeah.
Well, for a goal scorer, that's probably as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fun for me, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. Tell us about the rest of the freshman class. I mean, we talk about you, Callan, because of your accomplishments with the record in Oregon, and you guys got a pretty great freshman class though coming in too. Give us a sense of what the rest of the freshman class is like.
I love my freshman class. I think that we all bond really well together, and I think that we definitely have some really good talent coming in for sure. We got 3 forwards coming in with myself, and we got some 2 defensive backs and a lot of holding center mids. So I think that the program picked some really good people to play this year, and I think that we all can definitely contribute to winning a national championship. So
academics now, and first of all, I love that you're already thinking national championship. Is that that's got to be a 4-year goal for you here, isn't it?
Yes, it is for sure.
I like it. We're gonna get along. I think Duck fans and Callan Harrington. We're gonna get along. Talk to us a little bit about academics, Callan. I mean, first year. Well, we're going to hear from Callan, we hope, a little bit later on, because as per a Monday, The computer crashed. We actually were toward the end of the interview. We only had about a minute left. She was about to talk about academics, what her schedule was going to look like, and it was funny because one of the things that she mentioned, and we might be able to play it for you a little bit later on, if not today, but maybe later in the week. One of the things that Callan mentioned actually was that she's thinking about sports broadcasting, thinking about business, and she actually outlined, it was pretty hilarious, pretty much my exact fall term of my freshman year, actually. And of course, you know, I meandered my way through that fall term, whereas Callan's going to be out here training for soccer and going through everything that's going on in the world right now. And it just occurred to me, like, how much more difficult, in all seriousness, that it would be. And it stinks. It stinks. Well, I think we got to pretty much the meat and potatoes of it, getting to know Callan Harrington. She's great. I think that Duck fans are really going to enjoy watching her play. When we come back, I do want to jump in to something that was kind of cool that John Wilner wrote about in the Mercury News, which is actually an interesting look at what weather could be like for the Pac-12 football season. Kind of interesting. Also, your Cafe 2-minute drill and your Products viewing guide for the week. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More coming up from the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Jackson's Food Store is proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Everyday specials on all of your necessities. You'll have everything that you need at Jackson's, and go Ducks. I thought that was funny. Jack said headsets can damage your hearing. Take my word for it, Joey. Yeah, I'm probably, I know. You know, the funny thing, though, with that is normally, like, if you're wearing very, very big headphones, you're turning up too loud, it damages your hearing. But the interesting thing, I've actually talked to Jerry and Terry about this over the years, that we're in so many, like, big basketball arenas, the hearing would actually hurt you worse in that situation. Scott was able to find the rest of Kellen Harrington after our computer went. She's talking a little bit about what academics she's working on for the fall and finishing up our interview, the rest of what we had to say with Callan Harrington. That's probably as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fun for me, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. Tell us about the rest of the freshman class. I mean, we talk about you, Callan, because of your accomplishments with the record in Oregon, and you guys got a pretty great freshman class, though, coming in, too. Give us a sense of what the rest of the freshman class is like.
I love my freshman class. I think that we all bond really well together, and I think that we definitely have some really good talent coming in for sure. We got 3 forwards coming in with myself, and we got 2 defensive backs and like a lot of holding center mids. So I think that the program like picked some really good people to play this year, and I think that we all can definitely contribute to winning a national championship.
So academics now, and first of all, I love that you're already thinking national championship. Is that that's got to be a 4-year goal for you here, isn't it?
Yes, it is for sure.
I like it. We're gonna get along. I think Duck fans and Callan Harrington. We're gonna get along. Talk to us a little bit about academics, Callan. I mean, first year. Huh. Well, we have officially found. We thought we'd go back in time for you a little bit, but we've officially found an error in the file. So we won't be able to hear the rest of what Callan Harrington had to say. We tried. Well, yeah, I was going to say it's a Monday. Well, in all seriousness, though, we told you pretty much everything else that she had to say. We wanted to have you hear it from her rather than from us. Time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Taking a look at what happened around Oregon athletics. Gwen Savekis going yard for Athletes Unlimited was great. Also, the NBA playoffs back. Ruthie Hebert, 11.6 rebound, tying her career high in the WNBA. And a virtual town hall has been announced for the University of Oregon students and families. Thursday, September 3rd, this Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. You'll be able to tune in. For those of you who have students or you're curious what's going on at Oregon, you'll be able to tune in for that town hall with University of Oregon President Michael Schill. We talked to Keenyn Won on the show today. Talked a little bit about what it's like being an emerging sport in the NCAA. Great stuff from Keenyn Won. I encourage you to go back and listen to it if you missed it. Elsewhere in your products viewing guide as part of your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, Rob Mosley does a great job. He always updates this every week on GoDucks.com. You'll be able to tune in. Ruthie Hebert is in action at 3 o'clock Pacific time today on CBS Sports Network, WNBA and the Chicago Sky, featuring her today. That's your only products viewing for today, apart from a few baseball games, and then also softball wrapping up, but most of those games will be done before we're even off the air. One of them's already underway, and then one also tonight, 5 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus, cafeyum.com. We did not get to the weather report and what this Pac-12 season could look like. We're going to do that tomorrow. We'll see you then.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you